Namaste. From 10th of September, Mercury goes retrograde. Retrogression is not bad, but retrogression becomes bad when you are not able to understand the message of retrogression. The message of retrogression is to pause, sit back, and introspect. But people are always in rush. Nobody is willing to stop and sit back. Everybody is in rush. Everybody is in rush, running and running. And so when you are not listening to what your life is saying, it is but obvious you will get frustrated. You will go in depression. You will have many confusions. And this is exactly what happens when Mercury goes retrograde. However, for those who are evolved souls, for those who are meditative, for them this retrograde Mercury period is a wonderful period. Always remember, even when a negative thing falls in the hands of a positive person, he utilizes it for a good cause. So it all depends on what you are from within. Now there are many men and women who just take a lot of pleasure in hurting others by posting offensive comments. That is their way of seeking pleasure, right? However, these kind of negative men and women eventually end up with many sufferings and miseries, especially when Mercury goes retrograde. So it all depends on what you are from within. In this podcast, I have shared a generic result of this retrograde period of Mercury for all 12 zodiac signs. However, I have shared it in my own way. So let's begin. Retrograde planets are not bad. It all depends on what you are from within. Always remember, if you are an utterly negative person, then even a good exalted planet cannot help you. There are many men and women who continue to comment negatively and hurt others. These kind of negative women and men are filled with so much poison within them that all they know is to bite others by their words. Such men and women eventually end up with many miseries and sufferings in life. Yesterday, Mohan was crying. Mohan is a very sensitive, good-hearted person. He said, I should stop sharing on social platforms because certain men and women are so offensive by nature. They comment to hurt me, to demotivate me, to ridicule me. I smiled and said, Mohan, this is the way of this human world. The more you are good, the more there will be negative men and women who will try to target you. However, you should not give up. You should continue to share because along with these poisonous negative men and women, there are millions of good heart fellows who understand the depth of your sharing. Always remember, when an elephant enters the market, some stray dogs will bark and make a lot of noise to distract the elephant. But the elephant is wise. He never pays attention to the barking stray dogs. You also don't pay attention to these negative men and women. Eventually, they will end up in hell. Just delete their comments and block them forever. Remember, once you block them, they are as good as dead for you. And also remember that these negative men and women will suffer immensely because of their negativity. So you don't have to do much. You don't have to react to their negative comments. You just ignore and block them forever. And so it all depends on what you are from within. If you are a good heart person, if you are taking efforts to expand your awareness, if you are a person who never hurt others by posting negative, offensive comments, if you are a faithful person, then retrograde planets will definitely prove beneficial for you. However, for negative, cheap women and men, who have absolutely no manners and no understanding, for such cheap men and women, retrograde planets will cause much havoc in their life. And that is why I always say to Mohan that you don't have to do anything special to finish your enemies. You just have to wait and watch, because your enemies are filled with so much poison, so much negativity within them, that this negativity itself will finish them one day. Your success is based on what you are from within. Similarly, the results of planets are based on what you are from within. There are many cheap negative men and women having exalted planets in their birth chart. And then there are many beautiful, lovable, sweet, good heart, positive fellows having debilitated planets in their birth chart. So the first message for all my close followers is that do not judge people based on the strength of their planet. Instead, observe people based on the strength of their character. Retrograde Mercury is therefore a great blessing for an insightful, decent, good heart fellow who has a certain depth of understanding. However, the same retrograde Mercury is a great curse for an offensive, negative, cheap person who simply goes on hurting others by posting negative, offensive comments. And such a person is a totally ignorant person from within. Now, considering that from the 10th of September, Mercury is going retrograde, this retrograde Mercury will prove highly beneficial for good heart, positive fellows. While the same retrograde Mercury will teach a good lesson to all those negative, cheap women and men. That is why I always say that the state of the planet and its result is solely based on the foundation of your birth chart. If the foundation of the birth chart is positive, then the person is indeed a beautiful person. Then no matter how many difficulties come, such a person will win in the end. But if the foundation of the birth chart is poor, then no matter how much money comes, the person will remain sick, offensive, and depressed in life. That is why whenever I come across certain beautiful souls having a good foundation in their birth chart, I am very happy. Though nowadays I have stopped accepting everybody for my consulting sessions, since there are many wolves out there and I need to be careful when it comes to interacting with people. Mercury goes retrograde in Virgo. Now Virgo is the most mean sign of all 12 signs. Kanjush, that is a Hindi word, miser. In fact, it is the only sign that I strongly dislike. Remember, Virgo falls in the 6th house of Kala Purush Kundali, and 6th house is indeed the headquarter of all disputes, meanness, diseases, and black magic spells. Now, when Mercury goes retrograde in Virgo, men and women born with moon in Virgo sign will be the first to suffer. Then comes the sign of Gemini. Men and women born with moon in Gemini will also suffer during the retrogression period of Mercury. And if I have to mention two signs that I dislike the most, then those two signs are Virgo and Sagittarius. Talking about Sagittarius, the worst position for moon in Sagittarius is moon in Mula Nakshatra. Whenever I come across men and women born with moon in Mula Nakshatra, I had a very bad experience. And so I generally avoid them, though sometimes some slip out and then I have to tolerate them. Sometimes God tests our patience. The next set of people who will suffer during this retrograde Mercury period is men and women born on Mula Nakshatra. Mula hates Mercury, and when Mercury is retrograde, expect more confusions and more havoc in the life of those born with moon in Mula Nakshatra. Aries is a sign that I personally love, but Ashwini, the nakshatra ruled by Ketu, dislikes Mercury, and so people born with moon in Ashwini will definitely suffer during Mercury retrogression period. Taurus is a sign of pleasures. Men and women born with moon in Taurus will not face many issues during this retrograde Mercury period, though you should pay attention to your bank savings and towards your children. Gemini is a sign of communication and intellectualism, and also a sign that takes much interest in sex talk. Since Mercury is the sign lord of Gemini, the retrograde Mercury period will be a testing period for men and women born with moon in Gemini. However, there is a catch, and the catch is that men and women born in Gemini Adra Nakshatra will face more issues and more troubles, since Adra is Rahu and Rahu's guru is Mercury, and Mercury is now retrograde. So Adra natives will definitely suffer more during the retrogression period of Mercury. Cancer is a sign that I love. It seems that all watery signs are my favorite, and Cancer is the very first watery sign of the zodiac. Cancer is all about clinging. The very nature of Cancer is to cling. And you know how a mother is. A mother is always clinging to her child. And so Cancer is connected with mother. Emotions, sensitivity, sensuality, and all of this comes naturally to the sign of Cancer. Retrograde Mercury is a piece of good news for Cancer natives. The retrogression period of Mercury will bring many new insights in your life that eventually will help you in making strategies that work in your favor and that brings more rewards in your life. Now that I love watery signs, it is obvious that fiery signs will be a pain in my neck. And so the second fiery sign of Leo never gets well with me. Though the good news is that this retrogression period of Mercury will prove much beneficial for all those born with moon in Leo sign. So don't worry much about this retrograde period. Even though other signs will suffer, still you will be alright during this retrogression period. Just be cautious while dealing with money and secure yourself on social platforms, else somebody will hack your social account. Virgo, anyhow, is going to go through many troubles during this retrogression period. However, by chance, if you have a Moon Jupiter conjunction in Virgo sign, or a Moon Ketu conjunction in Virgo sign, or a Moon Venus conjunction in Virgo sign, then you will be saved from much of the troubles that this retrograde Mercury in Virgo is going to bring on. Libra is a sign of intelligence. It is really fun to be with Libra. After watery signs, I love all the airy signs, of which Libra is also my favorite. Libra is a sign that is very decent, sophisticated, and has a certain class to it. Generally, men and women born with Moon in Libra will not indulge in commenting offensively. In fact, they are good observers and they maintain a certain class. They are aware of the fact that when you comment, you show all of yourself. What you are, what standards you have, what quality of thoughts you have. Basically, your one comment shows your whole self. And so, evolved souls born with the Moon in Libra generally will not indulge in posting offensive, hurtful comments. They like to maintain a certain class. This retrograde Mercury period will provide you with a platform wherein you could introspect on your expenses. This period will also provide you with new insights in your career or business. So overall, this is going to be a period of revival and recharging yourself with a new set of ideas, insights and strengths. Scorpio is my all-time favorite sign, and this is also a watery sign. And as I said earlier, all watery signs are very close to my heart. Retrograde Mercury is not going to cause many problems in your life. In fact, when Mercury goes weak, your sign lord Mars goes strong. And so probably Scorpio is the only sign that will have a good ride during the retrograde Mercury period. You can use this period by revisiting on your business or political strategies, as well as you may also utilize this time to manage your loans and credit card bills and basically focus on reducing the burdens of loans in your life. Sagittarius is the sign that I strongly dislike, especially men and women born with Moon in Mula Nakshatra. I am not saying that this sign is bad. I am just saying that as far as I am concerned, I have had many bad experiences while dealing with Sagittarius Moon sign men and women. Now, when it comes to Sagittarius, troubles are more for those born with Moon in Mula Nakshatra. Financial troubles, health issues will emerge during this retrograde period of Mercury. Much suffering and much pain are coming your way. So stay alert and be compassionate towards others. Capricorn, a very practical, hardworking, smart sign. I generally have had good experiences while dealing with men and women born with Moon in Capricorn. These folks generally will not offend you or harm you unless you start tasting their patience. The retrograde Mercury period for Capricorn natives is going to be just fine. Some delays in matters of luck is possible. However, as far as health is concerned, this period is excellent to do regular blood tests and take appropriate medications so that you remain healthy and fine. As they say, prevention is better than cure. And so, you also should focus on taking preventive steps towards safeguarding your health, and then everything will be alright. Aquarius sign is the peak of intellectualism. Women born with Moon in Aquarius are very interesting characters, and so does men with Moon in Aquarius. Although traditional astrologers have assigned this sign to Saturn, still I am of the view that this sign of Aquarius is actually the sign of Uranus, the planet I love the most. Uranus is all about modernization, technology, and hi-fi gadgets. And so Aquarius is indeed the sign of modernization. And you will be surprised to know that this age is the age of Aquarius. And so we see so many inventions. And let me tell you, the modern inventions that we see now are just the tip of the iceberg. There are many more advanced inventions coming in the near future. And you will see flying cars and cars running on water in the near future. Women born with moon in Aquarius are generally found to be modern and much forward in their outlook. These are humanist by nature, and many take great interest in fighting for the cause of humanity. Uranus is the higher version of Mercury, and so when Mercury goes retrograde, Uranus is affected. The Mercury retrograde period is going to be challenging for many men and women born with the moon in Aquarius sign. Misunderstandings, miscommunication, and problems in a relationship are some of the side effects of this retrograde Mercury period. So be cautious, stay alert, and talk less. And when you talk, ensure that you communicate clearly so that there is no space left for any misunderstandings. And the last sign is the sign of Pisces. Of all the 12 signs, Pisces is my number one favorite sign. I simply love Pisces. Pisces is also the favorite sign of Sri Ketu, and as you all know, I am a devotee of Sri Ketu. Pisces, the 12th sign, signifies the 12th house in Kalapurush Kundali, and Ketu and Jupiter both are comfortable in the 12th house. Ketu is the right hand of Jupiter. When Jupiter is strong and positive, then you don't have to worry about the placement of Ketu in your chart. When Jupiter is strong, Ketu does well. The great spiritual master Akkalkot Swami Samartha was born with moon in Pisces sign, and interestingly, he himself declared this to his devotees. When his devotees asked, "Master, what is your moon sign?" Akkalkot Maharaj laughed, a loud belly laugh, and then he said, "My sign is Pisces, mean Rashi." Men and women born with the moon in Pisces sign will have to face certain issues in marriage, as well as you may face certain issues due to misunderstanding and miscommunication in relationships. So, the only point you should remember is to ensure that whatever you say, whatever you communicate, ensure that you are loud and clear and you convey your message. You express your feeling by being straight to the point. Don't run around the bush. Just say what you want to say, and then this retrograde Mercury period will not cause much havoc in your life. Overall, the Mercury retrograde period is going to be a blessing in disguise for certain signs, while for certain signs this period is going to be a challenging period, especially in matters of finances and relationships. The state of Mercury in your birth chart determines how good you are in the art of communication. Reminds me of a beautiful story. Once it happened, two disciples of a great master were walking in the garden of the master's house. They were allowed to walk every day, morning and evening. The walking was a kind of meditation, a walking meditation, just as Zen people do walking meditation. You cannot sit for 24 hours. The legs need a little movement. The blood needs a little circulation. So in Zen and in Sufism, both, you meditate for a few hours sitting and then you start meditating walking. But the meditation continues. Walking or sitting, the inner current remains the same. They both were smokers. They both wanted to ask for the permission of the master. So they both decided, tomorrow at the most he will say no, but we are going to ask. And it doesn't seem such a heinous act to smoke in the garden. We will not be smoking in his house, so we should ask him. The next day they met in the garden. One was furious because the other was smoking, and he said, "What happened? I also asked, but he simply flatly refused and said no. And you are smoking? Are you not abiding by his orders?" The other disciple said, "But the master has said yes to me." This looked very unjust. And the first disciple said, "I will go and immediately inquire as to why he said no to me and yes to you." The other disciple said, "Wait a minute, please tell me what you had asked." He said, "What I had asked? I had asked a simple thing. Can I smoke while meditating?" And he said no, and he looked very angry. The other started laughing. He said, "Now I know what is the matter. I asked, can I meditate while smoking?" And he said, "Yes." It all depends, just a little difference, and life is totally something else. Now there is a great difference asking, "Can I smoke while meditating?" It is ugly. It is just ugly. But asking, "Can I meditate while smoking?" It's perfectly okay. Good. At least you will be meditating. So you see, it all depends on how you communicate. When you apply a certain logic in your communication, then it works. The first disciple was not diplomatic. He asked, "Can I smoke while meditating?" While the second disciple put the same question but in a very different way. He asked, "Can I meditate while smoking?" And the master said, "Yes, you can." So you see, it all depends on how you communicate. Generally, people think that by being intellectual, you can communicate effectively. But the reality is that you can communicate effectively only when you are no more intellectual but intelligent. Remember, intellectualism is a poor substitute for intelligence. Intellectualism is of the head. It is artificial. However, intelligence is of the heart. It is natural. It is spontaneous. And whatever is spontaneous is beautiful. Very beautiful. A spiritual man or a spiritual woman is very spontaneous. She will think less and feel more. When you say those three magical words, "I love you," spontaneously, without bringing your head or logic in between, then that expression of love is indeed the most beautiful moment of your life. Love is spontaneous, and that is why it is beautiful. You simply fall in love with a person. You don't know why. And when the word "why" is absent, love is present. And then life is no more the same. Everything around you is the same, but you are no more the same. Then there is a dance, a music, a song to your existence. Then you truly are living your life, because it is only when love wells up within your being that you become alive. Then the miracle happens, the miracle of love. Stay happy, because God comes only to a happy person. It is only when you are happy that you are open, and when you are open, only then you can receive the divine energy. Then you can receive the message of God. And that is why it is necessary that you stay happy. You follow the path of love, and when you follow the path of love and devotion, you will be all right. That is why the most beautiful path is the path of love and devotion, Bhakti Marg. Love to all my close followers. Remember to meditate every day. And remember that no matter how many people try to ridicule you, there is someone out there who understands you. There is someone out there who resonates with the beats of your heart. There is someone out there who can raise you up, and his name is God. Have faith in him. Remember, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. God loves you, and God always tests those whom He loves the most. When you think that where is God when you are going through the most difficult test of your life, you should remember that the teacher is always quiet during the test. Only good-hearted, faithful lovers of God can pass the difficult tests of life. And when they pass, God takes them under His wings. And then there is no looking back. The sky is clear and you are ready to fly. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.